And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170. The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that I do have a couple free reverse mortgage workshops coming up in Chula Vista. The first one's going to be this Thursday, January 12th, from noon to 2 p.m. at Mangia Italiano on 3rd. And then I have another one a week from Thursday at the same restaurant from 6 to 8 p.m. So please feel free to RSVP. Just keep in mind that seats are limited, so you really do need to call in and get a reservation as quickly as you can so that you can guarantee a spot there. And we're going to teach everything you need to know about reverse mortgages. So whether you or someone you know is considering it, it doesn't matter. Just come. It's an educational workshop. It is not a sales workshop. It is purely informational. So feel at ease, no pressure. Just come down, learn everything you can about reverse mortgages. So we're going to continue our conversation with Alexander Aubel. He's a personal trainer who just recently wrote a book called A Theory on Aging, or De-Evolution of Movement. His website is dmarpt.com. That's D as in dog, marpt.com. And he is a Del Mar personal trainer, correct?
That is what I do. That is me.
And so where is your facility at?
It's a little north of the 56 off El Camino Real. It's in a converted office building. I kind of converted it into like an at-home studio. Actually just redid the whole thing last week. It's got all the finer things now.
Right. So where do your clientele mainly come from?
I have a few clients who come all the way from like Rancho Bernardo, a couple that come down from Oceanside, one from kind of like the Solana Beach area, then a lot in the UTC, Del Mar, kind of Carmel Valley, Forest Ranch, that whole area. It's one advantage, it's easy access.
So your clientele is pretty much countywide?
It's countywide, yeah, and I get a lot of referrals for people who have specific issues that my kind of expertise can fix, whether it's shoulder, back, neck, knees. Like I've been fortunate enough to have some great success with a lot of different people, so that's kind of the advantage.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about one thing I was talking about during the break is nutrition. And one of the things that I think I mentioned in the first segment has to do with eating right. And it's really important that if you take up training, that you also feed your body correctly. And one of the things I asked you mentioned that you had done some studies and spinach and broccoli were really important. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've read probably hundreds of different papers, and the common theme is that spinach, broccoli, raw spinach, roasted broccoli, and then any form of like just high fiber, good fats, nuts are just the key to controlling inflammation, regulating blood sugar. Like that's where I'm trying to build positive habits with my people. Like I don't want to be like, you can't enjoy the finer things, like you can't but just to have enough good stuff in your diet that it kind of can offset like after a weekend of overindulging, be like, I generally have a pound of salad, or like a pound of spinach salad, and for me that works. And then you got to kind of, like you were speaking about earlier, like you just find a better, what works for you and what's your best method.
Well, what I've been doing is I looked up the top superfoods, right?
Yeah.
Which include kale, spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, all of these different types of foods. And what I do is I have something called the magic bullet, and twice a day I take all of this stuff and I put it into the magic bullet, throw some nuts in there, some walnuts and some other things. I'll blend it up and I will drink a smoothie. Now, here's the key with it, is I limit myself on the berries, on the fruits. Because a lot of times people get these smoothies and they immediately jump in, oh, I want all these fruit. The problem is the fruits have a lot of sugars in it. So my goal is to limit the sugars as much as possible. Now I do put in some apples and some things, but in moderation. The ratios are very low with my fruit. and I'll throw in some some blueberries or something a little bit because the antioxidant properties in them. But in general, my smoothies are green, very green, and it blends up the fiber so that the fibers are there as well. So it's one of those things where after I drink it, and I have the ability, I have a very special ability, and my ability is to slam stuff. And so I can pick up a green smoothie, even if it tastes horrific, and I can literally down that thing super quick. So, it amazes my wife and my family when they see me do it, because they're like, my God, but you know what? My body feels so good after I drink it. For the next hour or so, it's almost like I can feel my body just sucking up those nutrients. So I think you're right about that. I think that the spinach and the broccoli and the greens and the fiber, they're so important. But you don't necessarily need to change and just eat all greens. You could still enjoy the things you like. You just need to make sure your body's getting what it needs as well.
Getting what it needs, and like you were talking about sugar, and sugar is every mammalian brain ever runs on glucose. It runs on sugar. It's why we want it so much. It's why the snack food industry has had such a successful time selling it, because we want it. We love it. It works, and it works for us. And so understanding that about yourself, being like, okay, I want some dark chocolate with some almonds. Like my wife always uses the story of Alessandra Ambrosa. She's one of the Victoria's Secret models. She allows herself like 14 dark chocolate covered almonds a day. Like that's her treat.
Right.
And she's an underwear model. So I always tell my wife, I joke like, so you get 14, don't have 15. You gotta have at least 14, because 15's you're not gonna be on the runway anymore, and that's not gonna work. And so just understanding like what kind of our bodies crave and not feeling bad about it, because I've had some people in the past that'll literally, while they're enjoying something that they like, they're like beating themselves up about it, like in their head, like they're going, wow, this is really good, but I shouldn't be eating this, I shouldn't be eating this. Like, just have a little enjoyment. Like life's meant to be, it's a pleasure seeking experience. So,
it is.
And if you can do the chug, that would be San Diego State land in a nutshell. that's where I went to school. And But if you can find a way to get it down and you can make it work, like your body just loves it. And like you're talking about, that feeling you get, like I know like every Sunday that's the cleanest day, Sunday afternoon. And when I eat and I'm finished done with that, like I wake up Monday morning and I feel ready to attack a week. Versus if I like had like an entire pizza on Sunday night and you just feel like you get all bloated and you kind of like wobble into work and you're like you would have missed the elliptical.
That's right.
Like
mental, you just lost the war.
You're done. You lost the battle. And that's kind of just the whole idea, is just understanding yourself and making sure you do enough good things for you without beating yourself up when you enjoy life.
Well, you're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of MichaelGaddis.com and FrontierLoanGroup.com. And we're speaking with Alexander Aubel, a personal trainer who recently wrote a book called A Theory on Aging or De-Evolution of Movement. How can they get access to this book?
It's actually on the website. It's right now in PDF format. I'm just about getting ready to upload it to like the Kindle and iBook and everything like that. And then hopefully once it gets a little momentum, I'm going to have a hard copy that'll be available for everyone to read.
So let's say somebody's out there listening and they said, you know what, Alex seems like a great guy. He seems like somebody I want to talk to. So tell us a little bit about what they would need to do to get in contact with you.
Easiest way is you can go through the website and I have a contact page. My contact number is also 858-847-8787. And that's pretty much the easiest way to get a hold of me. I'm always available to try to talk, see if I can fit someone else into my schedule, or if anyone has any questions about my book or anything else, like I'm more than happy to share the knowledge.
And for all of you that are driving, don't worry. The number is on his website, dmarpt.com. That's dmarpt.com, which is basically Delmar personal training, correct?
Yes, that was the one available.
I just wanted to get to that before I moved on, but the other thing is real quick here. Red meats. I really limit my intake of red meats. I love red meat, don't get me wrong. I like it, but I have to limit it. And I know that as you get older, it's harder for your body to break it down. So I eat a lot of chicken, fish, and I do treat myself with smaller portions of red meat every now and then, but it's not a regular part of my diet anymore. Would you say that's probably right?
I think when you get older, steak should be considered a treat. Like if you want a cowboy ribeye, with a really good glass of wine, I'm an Irish whiskey man myself, some Johnny Walker Black, like that just not every day.
That's right.
Like that's the whole thing. It's all moderation and just making sure that you don't overwhelm your system.
Well, I want to thank Alexander Aubel for coming in today. And as I mentioned, if you want to get in touch with Alexander and get a copy of his book, A Theory on Aging or De-Evolution of Movement, you can visit dmarpt.com. That's dmarpt.com. Thank you, Alex, for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
After the break, we're going to continue our discussion with my reverse mortgage workshops. You're listening to The Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.